Hello and welcome to a new edition of Greenfluencers. Today I have the privilege and pleasure of interviewing JJ, the Chief Sustainability Officer at Brambles. JJ, thank you so much for being here with us today and welcome to BBVA Greenfluencers. To start with, could you please take us through what Brambles does and why sustainability is so important for your company?
We are a company that is dedicated to reduce waste. That's what we do. And we do that through a circular business model that is operating reusable packaging. What we do is to offer packaging services. If a manufacturer or when a manufacturer wants to move their goods across the whole supply chain, they have two options. They can buy a piece of packaging and then dispose of it when it is used, or they can rent that piece of packaging from Brambles, and then we will collect it and make sure that it is reused over and over and over again. This is why we say that we operate a pure circular business model. And on top of that, we have what it is probably the most important thing, an ambitious vision. We have the ambition to create a regenerative supply chain. And what is next? Well, as I was saying before, is this idea, this exciting and inspiring idea, hopefully, to create a regenerative supply chain. And a regenerative supply chain is something that really changes the rules of the game. Historically, supply chains have been working, consuming natural resources and producing lots of waste, unfortunately. And now with this idea, we want to change the paradigm. We want to build a supply chain that will consume existing waste and will replenish or create natural resources.
You are also leaders in ESG reporting. What's the value on that?
Well, reporting is considered to be a boring thing, but we don't agree. We think reporting is super important because, first of all, it shows, that we are doing what we say we are going to do. Every year we have these objectives, these ambitious objectives for 2025, and every year we tell the world, we tell the market, our customers and our employees that we are fulfilling those commitments. Also, it's a way to showcase the specific things that we are doing around all those KPIs and initiatives, and hopefully inspiring other people to take action. We have many circumstances where through our reporting we were approach from different stakeholders saying, we want to do this, we want to replicate this, we want to do things together with you. And finally, it's a recognition of all the people in our supply chain, internally and externally, that are working on these fantastic sustainability initiatives, to have their names and their faces there. Sometimes I think it's the fair thing to do.
Yeah, clearly the results speak for themselves. What would you say is the secret for such a successful program?
I think it's a combination of several things. The first one is ambition. You need to have ambition. If you want to have a world-class sustainability program, this is not just about making the bare minimum. It has to be ambitious and it has to be material to what you do. It has to have meaning in the environment where we operate. The second thing that is probably our secret is this concept of integration. Believe it or not, for a company such as ours, present in almost 70 countries and with thousands and thousands of employees around the world, the sustainability team is quite small. We are around 10 people. But there are hundreds, if not thousands of people in the company who are doing sustainability every day. So it's about bringing the sustainability message and bringing it to the different functions and geographies so they own it. They are the owners of delivering on that. And the third part for me very clearly is to build that bridge between sustainability and business value creation. The sustainability needs to bring value to the business. And we do that. We do that with every single thing that we do within our sustainability program.
Makes sense. Sustainability is in the DNA of your company, and that's a fact. What would you say is the recipe for integrating sustainability into your business model? And do you actually think that sustainability adds value to your company and to your business model?
Oh, absolutely. Every day. That's what I was saying. And I can give you some examples to demonstrate that. If we go to the typical stakeholder groups, but for example, let's start with customers. No? Customers have their own sustainability objectives. Our customers, who are the big consumer good brands, they also have very ambitious sustainability objectives that impact the whole supply chain. They need help. And we are here through our sustainability program to give them the help that they need. We can work together with them, not just to fulfill our own sustainability targets, but to make sure that they will achieve their own sustainability targets. That is a differentiator. There are some customers that decide that they want to work with us rather with other options in the market because of our sustainability credentials and our ability to help them. So with customers, absolutely yes. With employees, well, nowadays, everyone loves many people want to work for a company that is financially strongly and it can offer a career opportunity, but also a company that does the right thing. And we are experiencing that every day. Sustainability is part of our value proposition, and we see that people, the highest talent in the world join our company, and once this talent is in the company, is the level of engagement that it creates, and we are seeing that every day. And finally, investors. We see that the investor community is looking for more opportunities to invest in companies with the right credentials, and we are one of them.
That's correct. And actually, now that you are mentioning investors, let's talk about that a little bit more. I think it's really important to mention that Brambles issued a 8 years green bond back in March this year, so in March 2023, where actually BBVA participated as a green structuring advisor and an active book runner. So I think that's something that it's worth mentioning. Could you please take us through the whole process of this bond issuance and tell us how Brambles' strong ESG credentials actually benefit investors?
We are seeing that sustainability is also critical to investors, and it's becoming more and more critical every day. We were, in a way, pioneers when years ago, with this strong integration of sustainability within the finance and investor relations team, we started to approach investors to share our story, to share what we could do, and also to listen, what are the kind of things that they will be interested in. And some years later, we are in a very privileged position. If we go to the equity part, we see how more and more investors are buying our shares, are becoming part of our company because they appreciate what we are doing and they appreciate our vision for the future. And they consider, first of all, they have their own obligations with their own clients that want to invest their money in sustainable and financially viable companies. But also they think that sustainability is a good proxy for how a company is managed. In the case of the debt part of this equation, we see a similar thing. We see a similar trend. And through this integration in finance, we decided to go to the market with two financial instruments: a sustainability-linked loan and a green bond. And it was very interesting for me to interact with investors and communities and to show and with guarantees that their investment was going to be dedicated to something that is highly sustainable and highly profitable, which is our circular business model and the assets that operate within that circular business model. So yeah, and I think this is something that we are seeing today, but it's growing more and more, and we will see much more focus of the investor community in the sustainability markets in the future.
Obviously, your business model is beneficial for investors, for employees, but let's talk a little bit about challenges. I assume you faced some challenges so far within this process. Could you please take us through them?
The first one is something that many companies are facing today, which is data systems and reporting systems. Because of our sustainability program being a mature one, it impacts the whole value chain from the beginning to the end. Then we need to make an impact in the whole value chain, and we need to collect data of what that impact is working, the things that we are doing from the very beginning till the very end. The second one, I will say, is this huge challenge that also everyone has with decarbonization and climate change. Our science-based targets for decarbonization, their scope is the whole supply chain. So we need not to transform just what we are doing at home, but we need to transform how the whole supply chain is operating. And some of the solutions that we need are still not there. For example, in our case, a lot of our emissions, scope 3 emissions, supply chain emissions, are associated with heavy-duty transport. And the technologies for low emissions in heavy-duty transport are still not there. So that is a challenge and something that we are trying to tackle so we can activate and trigger that transformation in the industry. And finally, I think the biggest challenge that we have right now, that is the most exciting one, is how to demonstrate that building this regenerative supply chain is possible, how to bring the regenerative aspect to everything that we are doing in the company, to timber, to decarbonization, to waste, to our work with food banks, etc. So building some real examples of regeneration in action. It is a challenge, but the good news is that we have already started to do that, and we know it is possible now.
If you had to pick 3 achievements in the past years, what would you say?
It is difficult because there are so many good things that happen in the sustainability program. Probably one of the most important ones has been the fact that today, and since 2020, we buy 100% of the timber that we procure anywhere in the world through certification, under the most reputable timber certification. And that is an achievement, not just because we buy the timber that way, because also to do that, we had to change the market dynamics and introduce sustainable practices in markets and geographies where timber was not grown sustainable. So that is something that we are very proud of. The second thing is probably something that, it is still a long way, but we are progressing every year, which is the amount of women that we have in management positions in our organization. Today, we have 36.3, and we are going very well towards this objective of having 40% of women in management position by 2025. But probably the third one will be something that has a net positive impact. We want to impact 1 million people for them to become change makers in the circular economy. We know that the circular economy is the right way to operate supply chains, but this is not just about us. It is about more and more people believing in the messages and incorporating this into their own business or into their own lives. And we are very close to that magic number of the 1 million that we expect that we will achieve in the next fiscal year.
And now if we look forward and we talk about the future, what do you think the future is going to bring to Brambles in terms of sustainability?
In the short term, we definitely need to focus on achieving all our 2025 targets. That's a commitment to the market, that's a commitment to our employees and our people. We are in good shape. The second thing, going back to what I keep repeating because it is my inspiration, is to continue building this regenerative supply chain. And as I was saying before, now we know that we can do it in many areas. Let me share with you just very briefly a fascinating project that we have in Tabasco, in Mexico. We procure a lot of timber because our crates, containers, and pallets are made out of wood, some of them, and we need wood. And in some areas, we don't have sustainable wood. We don't have high quality certified wood. What we are doing is go to those areas and creating the forests, the timber farms, the plantations, and the sustainable wood that we need to operate there. That is regeneration, because we go to a place where there was no trees, a place that was desertified, that the economy was not working very well for the societies there, and through these activities and alliances with all stakeholders in the area, we can create economic wealth, and we can create also new, as I was saying, forest mass is purely regenerative. So that is we want to explore that case with that spirit to many other places. And finally, for me, the real vision in the long term is that in a few years we can have even a more positive impact in the environment and in the societies where we operate, and of course to make our business much stronger through this vision and through this sustainability program.
And finally, JJ, we are going to give you this Greenfluencer tombstone as a recognition for being part of Greenfluencers.
Thank you. This is an honor and a privilege, and Greenfluencers is a community that I follow very closely. It has inspired me in the past, and hopefully our story will inspire some other members of the community to take action, which is what we need to build a more sustainable future together. So thanks for this.